I went to university straight from national service. That time, again, the visionary Kaunda government had a program of national service for those who completed grade 12. I was a monk. We loved being monks, right? And we were the Viva monks. We were quite revolutionary monks. Many of the guys who were in university at that time got to know us. There's a group of us there, about 15 of us who moved together, all monks, right? But one or two became modules along the line, but we were okay. Life was good then. There was decent food, decent, BC, they call it now. We used to call it jackpot in our time. Not much, but sufficient. So, and we did what we needed to do. As a child, I encourage children, young people, at your age, focus on school. The rest will come later. I was always a straightforward guy, more quieter than now, but focused on school at the time. And by the way, I was already a trader. I started trading as a student. So my room was an attractive room. At that time, you won't believe it. If you had an electric kettle in your room, a pressing iron in your room, and a radio cassette, you were quite somebody, right? and we had that. And I used to, during vacations, I used to go across. There were shortages in this country. I used to go across into Botswana, to buy a few things, goodies, then sell as students return and end their jackpot, the BC now, sold a few things and acquired those fundamental things. And of course, girls used to like to come and do some pressing and some coffee tea, right? But frankly speaking, the issue here is that kids must understand. It's difficult for young people that there's time for everything. I repeat what I've said. There's time for everything. And I think we were reasonable examples of that. I never drank, never. Never smoked, never ever. And in this house, the kids don't smoke, they don't drink. I think it's a teaching, both culturally and also Christian faith, religious faith. It's very important that we push that, drive that to our children, because our children need to be what we can help them to be. And it starts early. So, yeah. So I never got pressure to smoke. By the way, a number of my friends drank and smoked. I never did that. I'd actually go to a bar with them, but never drink, never smoke.
My name is Teresa Mwambi, and I'm a fourth-year student here at UNZA, and I'm studying development studies and minoring in business administration. You find that maybe you missed out on the first selection, the second selection, and the third selection. So now that's when you tend now to be affiliated with the ruling party. This is factual, I'm not lying, this is happening. WhatsApp groups will be created for first years, telling them, no, this is the government doing, and for you to be given, just be part of us. So it's really, really disheartening. I should not feel the need to affiliate myself to the ruling political party just for me to get the incentives that I rightfully deserve, even on merit. It's not supposed to be so. It's very, very disheartening. You find that I come here and there are those staunch people, like they're just non-partisan. They don't want to be politically affiliated, but then they are forced. Because how am I going to survive? I don't have PC. And then now you find that there are also now others now staunch people that are in the ruling party like that, and they are just all about the ruling party. They would miss class to do the ruling party's work. They are called foot soldiers. So now those are the ones that fail. You find that a person is supposed to just have 4 years, to spend 4 years in university here, maybe if they're in education or humanities. You find they're spending 6, 7 years and everything. And what is known that here when you fail, when you go on part-time, you're supposed to lose your accommodation, you lose also your bursary. But you find that no matter how many times they fail, these two, they still have them at the expense of those that are coming in and don't want to get affiliated to any political party, and they are really vulnerable. But they are left out because those others are set aside as priority because they are foot soldiers. I feel as though it's not really fair. It's not fair. Scrapping of the new allowances wasn't a good move, and plus it brought a lot of questions to us because in the manner it had started from a single phone call. She was just frustrated, no, I'm going to scrap it off so that everyone should be quiet. And for our first years that are in here, they've cried, we saw a lot of first years crying like that, and you could see it, it's different. And the scrapping of new allowance, as you find that a first year would accept anyone. For us girls like that, as a survival skill like that, even just a stranger would go, no, I'll give you 100. 100 to the first year right now is a lot of money. With the economy right now, it's really slacking like that. So ladies like that, a guy comes on, maybe let's say fourth year who's on BC. I mean, he's fourth year, maybe even as a small business from whatever he streams from the same BC like that. And maybe the parents also send him like that. He has some extra money to spare. And here is a first year who doesn't have a meal allowance receipt or anything like that, and then they propose to them. It's easy for them to accept because they are seeing it as an easy way of survival like that. In school, we'd call it diving. You find that she never even cooks, but she's always diving to the boyfriend. It's not even the only boyfriend. So maybe this one should be eating from this side. This one should ask for hair plaiting. And to be honest, men don't just give money for free. You can imagine now what she has to do for all those services, the food that she eats from those rooms, the hair that she gets plaited from those rooms. They find it difficult. A lot of students, we're talking about thousands of students, not being able to clear their fees, despite them being on 50 or 75%. Now, when you now put it on paper, no, this is how it is now. We're not going to be giving full, we're just going to cut it into half. How many are going to be affected if already here right now, as we're talking before it is even implemented, people are already struggling?
It was all based on merit. Our bursaries came based on who passed well in grade 12. And then after 6 months of being at National Service in Dola, Mushili camp, where we used to do, mbilo, every morning, running, log lifting, arms and everything, went to the University of Zambia on a government scholarship in the early 80s. Because I completed school in 1980, the National Service 1981, thereabout, went to university purely, not on any segregated basis, but as a citizen of Zambia who got a government bursary anchored on the results, not on being a relative of a minister, what we say today, not being a relative of a politician, and not being segregated in terms of who gets allocated a bursary. This really keeps me awake in the night. And we cannot deny a Zambian child that investment, that asset. What we see today, where, as I said earlier, hundreds, thousands of students cannot access college education, university because of, on account of fees, it will be a thing of the past in our time. We want to pay back to the people of Zambia what we received from the citizens, poor citizens for that matter, peasants, people in the compound, people working underground in the mines. The money is there. There's always an assumption that there's no money. The money is there. What is missing is the prioritization. Getting the ducks lined in a row properly. What comes first for young people's education? So we will shift in our time in government office very soon. We will shift substantial amount of money which is being wasted, for example, in buying fire tenders. One fire tender, which was overpriced because of corruption, which will fight diligently. Our policy on corruption is zero tolerance to corruption. One fire tender. Today's cost of university education can send well over 15,000 students through from first year to fourth year. Just one fire tender. One at $1 million. You buy a wheelbarrow called a fire tender at $1 million, which costs $200,000, and you pay $1 million. You find pleasure in doing that? That's not for us. That's not for our time, because that money will be saved and allocated into education and see a child, another HH, more HHs complete university. The money is there. So it is a question of decision making and prioritization. We have a commitment to this country, a very serious commitment to the children of Zambia, to the women of Zambia, every family that is having difficulties in keeping their child in school. That will be a thing of the past very soon, because that child will be taken to school by the responsible UPND government. That's a promise. That's a commitment. Next, the child completes school. We will endeavor by applying the resources, endowments God gave us, including our people, minerals, through value addition, agriculture, tourism, obviously manufacturing, to growing the economy, manipulating, managing these resources to grow the economy. Not the levels of decline we've seen in the economy. When PF came into office, they found the economy growing at 7% per year. They worked it down to this year minus 3.5%. That will not happen under UPND. Whether there's COVID or not, COVID-19 or not, that's an excuse, because there's COVID in Botswana, COVID-19, but the economy is functioning. It's the leadership.